This video is brought to you by New Arc Line, a party-based fantasy CRPG out now in early access. Enter a steampunk world where magic meets technology, humans meet elves, and Harrys meet Sallys. As a fresh-faced resident of the New World, you set out to find a cure for the mysterious Iron Plague that's been, well, plaguing your loved ones. Create your hero and round up a party for adventuring, turn-based tactical fighting, and maybe even love. Time permitting, I'll have what she's having. What kind of hero will you be? Will you curse, debuff, and control your foes as a voodoo shaman, or embrace technology as a diesel punk engineer and snipe the magical abominations with high-powered rifles and trick shots from dual-wielded pistols? The world is your oyster, and oysters are delicious, therefore your world is delicious. New Arc Line is out now in early access, so head on over to the Steam page and start your journey in the new world today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Firelink Podcast, episode number 48 for Thursday, December 19th, 2024. I'm Marty Sleva, as always, joined by Casey Bosu, Nick Calandra, and producer Eric on this final pod of the year, 25 hours late, but 30 seconds early. So, when does this podcast really go up? Who's to say? Welcome everyone watching live on YouTube, everyone watching the VOD, listening on a podcast service of choice. Welcome to this last episode, 48th episode of the year.
Yeah,
probably not of the year. We probably started. This is probably like the 45th episode of the year.
Damn, if we tried a little harder, we could have made this like 50.
Yeah, I think we all share the blame in that.
Yeah, for sure.
We all share the blame in that. But yeah, as you can see, we have a fun show for you today. We're going to be touching on a little bit of news, a new update in the Sony and then Kadokawa, aka From Software's parent company situation. We'll talk about what we've been playing and watching, including Casey and I will do a rundown on the final 7 episodes of Secret Level, which premiered this week. But our main topic is just going to be a look back at 2024. As a year in video games, the highs, the lows, the weirdness. What will this year be remembered for? What games are going to stand the test of time? What did we just not have time to get to? Because let me tell you, there's some games I did not have time to get to. There's some games I didn't have time to get to. How are you guys doing? Happy end of the year. We made it. Yeah. We're like 24 hours away from just being done with the year.
Yeah.
It's the last 24 hours I have to wear. Oh no, just kidding. I have to be on stream tomorrow with the Avalanche chat too. So now
that's 24 hours away. So yeah,
still gonna burn my head for another day.
Yeah. As a bit of housekeeping, we have is DevHeads tomorrow? So we have 3 streams tomorrow.
DevHeads is tomorrow.
So we have DevHeads at the normal time, and then Casey, myself, Jesse, and Jess will be back at 3 p.m. Central for more Dokapon shenanigans. That'll be about 3 hours, and then immediately after that, Nick and a bunch of pals are going to be playing. At some point,
Lockdown Protocol.
Lockdown
Yahtzee
Protocol
will be there. Jack will be there.
The big
Jesse Galena will be there.
Big 3.
Jess Hoops won't be there to murder me immediately every time.
Oh, almost had the big 4.
They still don't.
Didn't get them. How are you doing, Casey?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, it's been a year. Lots of things have happened in this year.
Yeah.
Good things, bad things.
Yeah.
It's just the things. It's just one of those things years.
Year full of things.
But don't worry, 2025 is looking up. Everything will
be
everything will be fine.
Another year.
Everything will be fine. There's a Yakuza pirate game coming out in like 2 months.
That'll fix everything.
Hell yeah.
That'll fix everything. Also, King Dad, right off the bat with a $5 dono. Thank you so much, King Dad. Sorry, I was staring at the dono and then staring at the first news item, and it was like that scene, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, where they have their guns on each other and everyone's silent, like who's going to shoot first? And I was like, which one am I going to read first? Then I realized I just have to say something.
I get to choose. Okay.
I have to choose one of them. King Dad, thank you so much for that $5 dono. Can we look forward to a Darren column on Star Trek Lower Decks ending? I don't know. Darren's written columns, honestly, he just like I just let him go hog wild, and every once in a while I'll recommend him something. But I'll let him know. I'm sure he would, assuming he's kept up with it, because he was watching it weekly back at the Escapist because he would do weekly recaps. But weekly recaps are a pain in the ass. And as soon as we moved here, and we're like, you don't have to do that. You can just save it up and write when you have something you want to write. We kind of got rid of that, so I imagine he'll have some thoughts. So I'll pick him about that. Though.
I think hasn't he said out of all the Star Trek shows, this is the one he likes the most?
I think when he was covering it on a weekly basis, I think he felt like it was the one that was like, that had like the most Star Trek spirit. So, and I don't know how I don't know how the ending has been. That show is just out of sight, out of mind when I don't have to edit his pieces. Like it's just like completely out of sight. Like I forgot that show existed until King Dead brought that up. So. There you go.
I have the new Star Trek shows like on my to watch list on Paramount Plus when I like remember to log in there. Yeah. But then I just remember I don't really care about Star Trek. Never get around to it.
Yeah, F it.
Did you even watch the movie? Like, did you watch like the modern movies?
I've like, I'm gonna get roasted in chat for it, but like I grew up. My dad likes Star Trek. So I always treated Star Trek as the nerd show, and the Star Wars show is for the cool boys.
That is hilarious.
I also just never. They're also both for nerds. Yeah. There was just also no Star Wars. I guess you're young enough to where I guess you had like.
You probably had Clone Wars. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. We're old. You shovel snow today and everything hurts. Got 8 inches. 8 inches of venom.
Oh my god, that's wild.
It was too much.
Damn.
Yeah. This morning it started snowing and I'm like, it's so pretty. And I was like sitting in a chair by a window and I was just working and drinking coffee. And then like 5 hours later, I'm like, fucking stop.
He's like, oh, it never
stop coming down.
Walk outside, look up. No.
Stop it. But it's fine. No,
I only feel dread now when I see it snow outside.
You're like, oh, this is just going to make my life difficult.
As soon as you learn how to drive, that's just, you start feeling dread about snow.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can do sick drifts,
but also like,
at least I used to when I was young.
How come there's not a Fast? There should have been a Fast and Furious movie during a blizzard.
Yeah, they've not done that. Yeah,
like a city lockdown.
I have learned to that my house has a fatal flaw in it.
A fatal flaw?
Yeah, a fatal flaw. So when it snows, my house does not face the sun for pretty much the entire day until the evening. So when it snows across the street, everybody's snow just melts on their driveway. They don't have to shovel shit. But mine is in the shade all day, all night. So it never just goes away.
That's why before you move to a house, you got to stake it out 365 days, visit once in the morning and once at night, and take detailed notes. And then
where the sun is at
probation period, then you can finally decide if it's a good choice or not.
Figure out where the sun is at every hour of the day.
If you could, we might be sitting on like $1 billion idea. So nobody in chat take this. Copyright pending.
Yeah.
What if you just get like a house facts report? And it's just like little like tidbitty sorts of information about all the houses on like a listing. You'd be like, oh, the basement does kind of flood when it rains heavy. Or
that was weird report,
actually.
Yeah. Isn't that just an inspection before you buy a house?
It is, but sometimes the inspections doesn't get like you're saying, like the
granular details. Yeah, I want to know. I know like how much shade my house gets on a daily basis.
2 weeks out of the year. If I go outside, I can smell the like manure from a farm miles away for some reason. It's always
not going to show up in a house.
That's not going to show up. And that won't show up when you're going to buy the house unless you're there at that point. You're like, there was like a whole How I Met Your Mother episode about that.
There was,
They moved to that like new neighborhood called like Duis Tripla, and it's like downwind of like the sanitation department or something.
It was their house was, the floor was slanted, so they couldn't like they were able to just roll things down the floor.
Yeah, very topical How I Met Your Mother reference for everyone.
The guy who owned my house before I bought it was like he was a do-it-yourself kind of guy, but he was also a nerd, so he just didn't do any of it. Yeah, he just didn't do any of it right though.
No.
So I keep finding all these little problems in my house.
That's the thing, is if you are someone who's like a go-getter at I'm gonna fix things, unless you're good at it, you are like you're
terrible at it. There's no
worse.
There's no in between.
You're making things worse. Yeah. That might be the only thing where it's not like, oh, you're getting better. It's like, no, you need to be good at this. Or you're like, if you're a cook, I'm learning to cook. It's like, okay, incremental progress, we can still eat the food. But if it's like, I'm going to fix this pipe, and it's like, well, no, water's still coming out. You did not fix the pipe. It's a very binary thing. You either did it or you didn't.
Yeah, that's like the best example of this guy fixing stuff that he didn't actually fix is like my curtain rod above my my sliding door to go outside. I won't say door wall anymore because I got yelled at earlier for this year for that. But he didn't. I still think that's fucking hilarious that it's only said in that small corner of Michigan that I grew up in. That's just weird.
Yeah, the door wall capital of the world.
He put up the curtain rod by just screwing it into the drywall. He didn't anchor it or anything. So there's all these holes where I had to replace it.
I'm
use
guilty
anchors.
of that in the past.
You're guilty of that.
Use
I've done
anchors.
Anchors are harder to put in than you think.
Yeah, they are.
They're harder to put in than you think they should be.
They
Yeah, like they'll just break apart.
And then you have a bunch of holes in your wall instead of just one hole.
There you go.
You just cover it with pictures.
The whole.
Is that what you got? Is that why you got all kinds of stuff on your wall back there? Just got holes everywhere.
No, I didn't do anything. These other walls. I had everything in here professionally hung. Like he was doing other shit. I was like, hey, could you just hang these
professionally hang my Hylian shield and Master Sword?
No, I did those. Okay, I hung those, but like the actual art and stuff.
Gotcha. And Fungus Finder with a $2 dono. Thank you so much, Fungus Finder. Oh no, it'll be 33 for an hour tomorrow night. Brr.
Mm-hmm.
How do we put him in jail? We need to arrest Fungus Finder for that comment. You know who's not going to jail? Sony and the good folks at Kadokawa, because the news bit we wanted to touch on, which we touched on a few weeks ago, when the news started trickling up that Sony, the entity, was interested in acquiring Kadokawa, who is the parent company of a shit ton of anime and manga and streaming things in Japan, as well as the parent company of a handful of game studios, including FromSoft, that Sony was interested in acquiring them. And it turns out that they did not acquire them. However, they did become the majority shareholder by purchasing 10% of the company, which was roughly 50 billion yen, which was like $318 million. So not a full takeover for now, but they have entered like a strategic partnership, which also has commented on them wanting to sort of, I guess, in like a symbiotic relationship, maybe like use each other for like, we can make different media based on each other's IP. So maybe like Sony teams making things off their IP, and the Kadokawa animation studios and manga studios making things off Sony IPs. So yeah, if anyone was worried that like the next Elden Ring was going to be a PlayStation exclusive, for the time being, that's probably not the case. I mean, granted, we've gotten 2 PlayStation exclusive FromSoft games in the last 15 years. Long before this stuff came out. But
yeah, my question about that whole thing is like, yeah, like the idea is like, oh, this is possibly the beginning. Like they may be looking to deepen this relationship down the road. But I do think we all tend to forget that like Sony is like a much bigger thing than just the PlayStation portion.
Yeah.
Like PlayStation is very important to them, but like Sony, like this is Sony that's doing this deal. This isn't the PlayStation team that was seeking an acquisition of Kadokawa. It was just Sony. So like, the stuff that they want to do with them isn't necessarily specific to PlayStation, but it will definitely help PlayStation, just like it'll probably help all their other stuff. Like we keep referring to like all the anime acquisitions they've been doing. They're very keen on the anime stuff. What do they know that we don't know? Because like they really just want to eat all the anime, and no one else seems to care enough to stop them.
Yeah, or no one else has the money. Anime, as much as we make fun of like weeb shit, like anime is, I mean, like I feel like the kids today, they like the anime and the manga. Like,
it's like it's a natural thing. Like when we were coming up, when I say we, I mean me and Marty, because
we had to like work for it.
Yeah, I'm still coming up.
Yeah, it was like we had to actively search for it. Like you would get it from like a friend of a friend's big brother or something, and like it would come on late at night. Like it was this new sort of weird thing. Now it's just everywhere. Like kids have anime like they have the internet.
Yeah,
it's everywhere.
Yeah, maybe this is something, because they've talked about like adapting Elden Ring into other media, whether that's anime or live action or a series or whatever. Sony obviously has plenty of the history in those things. You know what? Now that the Spider-Man universe of characters not involving Spider-Man has dissolved, let's put those folks on some FromSoft movies. Craven the Old Hunter?
No.
Let's just get the Craven team.
Why would you suggest this?
Move them over to Yarno. I hate that. I hated all of that. Also, did you see how bad Craven is and how little money it's making might possibly knock Aaron Taylor Johnson out of the running for Bond? Like, that is a life-changingly bad movie, if that is true. And I'm like, you can't blame that guy for the movie.
But it's just the stink around it, I guess, right? Like, it's not his fault, but like they just wouldn't want to associate their thing with just something that was that bad.
And like now the scuttlebutt is like the lead is one of the dudes from Challengers, and it's like, well, this guy was in like one of the best movies of the year, so he should be Bond, as opposed to this dude who was in dog shit.
Like I see the logic in that. Like it shouldn't work that way, but I can see why they would do that.
Yeah, like
Did any of us go see this? I know
Craven?
Darren saw it. Yeah.
No, it's no one. I can't yet.
I feel bad that I thought the trailer looked okay.
It did. The trailer looked fine.
I
It's
didn't
probably
think
the
the
only
trailer
good
looked
part of the movie.
No, that trailer looked as bad as every other thing that Fox's Marvel universe has tried to do.
just
I'm
looked
sorry,
like
Sony's Marvel universe.
I just thought it looked like an okay action movie.
I'm planning on 1-2ing this weekend. A little bit of Craven, a little bit of Sonic 3. Oh my god, the Sonic 3 reviews off the charts.
They're coming in hot.
Yeah. Darren said, please remove Dune 2 from our best of movies. I would like Shadow the Hedgehog representation in there. He did not. Darren said he enjoyed it, though. He said it was the second best Sonic thing after Knuckles. He loves Knuckles. That dude
the TV series, right? Yeah.
That dude goes gaga for Knuckles.
Wasn't the general opinion was the Knuckles series wasn't very good.
No, I thought the
I've
Knuckles
heard the
series was pretty
opposite.
good. The thing is, it's not a Sonic. If I was like a kid being like, hell yeah, Sonic, it's very little Sonic shenanigans. Like, it is mostly like a road trip movie to try to go to a bowling tournament to learn how to communicate with your father.
You know, if there was one thing that I did not have on my bingo card for like any time anywhere in the future was Paramount Plus being the home of Sonic.
Movies moving
Yeah,
at speed.
they lucked out.
I know, it's just weird.
Because like that first movie seemed like it was in trouble. Like, like when they first was like, "Hey, we're gonna do a Sonic movie,"
especially when they showed Sonic and it's like,
Right.
"Oh, who's that little ugly thing? Let's kill it with
like,
hammer."
there was no telling that this would go upwards. But I guess when you start that low, where else can you go?
Yeah.
Do we still think that was a conspiracy to like just market the movie?
No, I just think,
You don't think so?
I think that was executives being executives, and it was like, oh, it's got to be like this. It's got to be like it can't be like
I don't
that.
look like a monster.
Yeah, you
Right,
can't look
yeah, like
too
they're
much
just-
like that.
It was a bunch of pencil pushers telling the artist how to
Mhm.
art. That was my guess. That's
Yeah.
my theory.
One of the rare instances of like fan backlash that was listened to
Worse.
in a positive way and fixed in a way that everyone seems happy with, as opposed to like, I guess how often is it actually listened to?
I think the difference was that was universally disliked and not just for.
Yeah, there weren't too many proponents.
Yeah,
Like, oh, it's not that bad.
I don't
feels
think-
like, I don't think there's anybody saying this is the Sonic we want.
I would imagine even like the director was like, "Fucking, I hope you guys throw a fit so that the pencil pushers, the money counters, let us have a little extra time and money to fix it." We'll have more obviously on the Sony Kadokawa thing. If anything interesting comes from it in the new year. And then before we get to the main topic, Fella Guy with a $5 dono. Thank you so much, Fella Guy. Apologies if you've already talked about it since I just got here. Have y'all had a chance to check out Creature Commandos yet? It's really dope so far. I've not. That is on my list.
Yes.
Yeah, Darren has, and Darren enjoyed it. I believe that is a
wrote
weekly
something?
show, and I think I'm waiting for.
Did you write something on Patreon about it too? I believe.
Bandos.
I think
Yes.
Yes.
I had to look at the picture, and I was like, "Did I add something like that?" Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, we were talking about Bride of Frankenstein." And all
So
those.
if you want Darren's thoughts on it, go subscribe to the Patreon at $5, and you can get all of his columns.
There you
He
go.
releases
Darren's
a lot of
Darren's
toilet
subscribe.
reading material.
Toilet reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, you legally have to be taking a shit while reading our columns. Otherwise, you can't scroll down.
Like it just won't open on your phone. Like it needs to detect the bathroom
Who
around
knows
you.
why? But no, Creature Commandos is on my list of stuff to watch over the break. I also want to watch that Orb show. I still don't know what it's called, but I got a Orb. Orb's
Called
at the
Orb.
top of Yeah, Casey's Orb Show.
Orb.
I love orbs.
Is it
On
an
the
anime
limits of the
thing?
earth.
It is an anime.
Oh, is that the philosophical one you were telling us about?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one
Okay.
I'm not smart enough. I'm going to read some books and do some push-ups. I'm going to come back and I'm going to have like I'm going to have a pipe. I'm going to have one of those. I'm going to have one of those sport coats with patches on the side. I'm going to be smart
Right.
as hell.
Yes. You need those.
I'm not going to say dumb things anymore. It's going to be
You gotta
great.
wear corduroy
Buff and
pants.
smart.
Buff and smart. You know what? Brain, biggest muscle on the body. It's the tricep. 2024. Let's talk about this fucking year.
Yeah.
I don't have a like a go-to. I have the title be like what the 2024 was blank for games. Do you guys have like a single word that you could like boil it down to?
Tough.
Tough.
Ugh.
Okay. Yeah.
Mine
Both
is,
meanings.
ugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or ouch.
Eric says mid. In terms of
I
the
don't
games
think-
themselves,
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I had this was a pretty good year for games in terms of the video games that came out. There was a lot of stuff directed at me, so I was very happy with indies and AAA things because a lot of them were in my wheelhouse. Everything outside of it, like when you look at the industry as a whole, not great. Not great. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's been a trend for a while now. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, what it was it last year or the year before last year where we just had like a million 10 out of 10 games released at once?
I mean, yeah, last year had a lot of like generational games, right? Like
That was okay. That was
had,
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your Zeldas and your Baldur's Gates and
Right.
Spider-Man.
So
Yeah.
so coming off of a year like that, yes, it's gonna feel a little bit of like a fall off, right?
Yeah.
But that being said, on the independent side, we kind of got that rise. Like we got a bunch of stuff that probably would be generational defining on the indie space throughout the year, like all throughout the year. And it's just a lot of that stuff just didn't really hit the mainstream like it should have, but like it exists. I'm
Mhm.
talking about Nine Souls, y'all.
I haven't written down in my notes. In my notes,
When is
for,
Casey going to mention it?
one of the highs, I say like indies are killing it. It just feels like every year it's just like a step up, a step up, a step up.
Right.
And while there's still the problems which we talk about of like how do you find the cool shit, and sometimes cool shit just doesn't get found, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But it's so cool to see a year with solo developed games like Balatro or Animal Well or even Yahtzee's game that sit alongside like larger team games with Nine Souls and like Crow Country and personally just games like Lorelei and Thousand Times Resist like a fucking mouthwashing just a few months ago, a bunch of the stuff you guys checked out in Hidden Gems, a bunch of the stuff we had Bite Size for. One of those like if you are willing to just look past AAA, like it's hard to argue that this wasn't a pretty solid year for the video games themselves in the indie space.
Yeah, I think when we haven't released it yet, but we do have a video coming that's outlines our personal favorite games, not like the best games of the year.
Yeah, it's not ranked or anything. It's just a bunch of us picking two games that we really liked.
And I realized when I was going through that I had a pretty hard time kind of picking out like what games that really stuck with me this year. And obviously I haven't finished Metaphor yet. Obviously this year's just been crazy busy. So I haven't had as much time in the evenings as I wanted to do to play games. So I would agree that like the indie space is really where things really shine, because when the AAA space really was like a lot of remakes this year. A lot of the games that I think I pointed it out at one point, like a lot of the games that were like up for Game of the Year were Final Fantasy Rebirth and Silent Hill 2 and stuff like that. And these are all games that have already existed and weren't like fresh, new, exciting IPs. Like I haven't finished Dragon Age of Veilguard yet because like it just hasn't hooked me like I had hoped it would. And I know like on social media, everybody's like, get to the ending. I was like, yeah, but everything getting there, it's like, it's kind of derivative. It's really pretty and the writing's fun.
Too long, right? Because even some of the big AAA stuff that I was starting to gel with, like I was super excited for Dragon's Dogma 2. I started it and was like, oh no, this might be bad. But then started getting sucked in. I just haven't had enough time to keep going.
Yeah.
Have you made it to the second area yet?
Of Dragon's Dogma 2, there's a second area? Nope, not at all.
Okay.
I have no idea.
I got there and I immediately dropped it. That's kind of happened to me for a lot of the AAA stuff this year, is like strong start for the games, but then like halfway through it just kind of falls into that formula of
Yeah,
repeating.
maybe because there's
and-
just too much of it, right? Yeah, like
yeah, because like I honestly like if I had to put a AAA game as my favorite game, my favorite AAA game would have been Warhammer Space Marine 2. It's just a linear, bombastic,
is that
cinematic.
AAA though?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
It's under Focus
That's AAA. Yeah,
Focus Entertainment's AAA now.
fucking looks AAA.
Yeah. And like, yeah, I think between that and probably Black Myth Wukong were probably my two favorite AAA level games this year. Because
I mean, I think this points to a relatively strong year that you named two games I do not care about, and I still think it was a strong AAA game.
It was a good
AAA
diverse year, I think, for a lot of different genres or different types of games, I guess.
Yeah,
I would say like my favorite trend right now is just that we are getting back to single player linear cinematic action adventure games like Indiana Jones and Black Myth Wukong and Warhammer and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like the giant open world for the sake of open world trend is slowing down. Obviously the live service trend, like we haven't really gotten any new live service game announcements of games that we didn't already know about for quite a while. We've got a few left that are coming.
Yeah, there's a couple still trickling out.
But aside from that, like EA hasn't announced anything on that front.
Sony pulled the plug on like all
Ubisoft,
the
Sony's announced. Yeah,
Yeah,
Ubisoft pulled all theirs.
it seems like almost every major publisher has like one of those huge missteps, which, you know, if we want to talk about the lows of the year, aside from fucking layoffs everywhere you look around, you know, seeing stuff like Concord, seeing stuff like Skull and Bones, seeing stuff like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, like it feels like almost no big AAA publisher is safe from, you know, in a post-Destiny, post-Overwatch world, everyone's sort of running for that eternal revenue stream. And, you know, lo and behold, 8 years later, those things come out and the pendulum's kind of swung and the market's a little saturated and people kind of want something different. And so... it does seem
Marvel
like...
Rivals is the outlier there because it's a brand.
Sure, yeah, like
yeah.
exceptions to the rules. And again, filling that, which we talked about either last week or 2 weeks ago, filling that space that you know, Blizzard fumbled. You know, they had ownership of that corner and then completely fumbled the bag.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also agree that I hope that you know, that pendulum swing is bringing back those shorter 15-hour, 10 to 15-hour, you know, play it once and that's kind of fine games with Indie and Warhammer and stuff like that. Even Black Myth Wukong, Stellar Blade, you know, regardless of all the bullshit around them.
Yeah. Like those games were fine for the most part, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just solid action games. Just too many deserts.
Okay, you gotta get off this fucking desert highway.
Go play Stellar Blade and tell me I'm wrong.
I want to play Stellar Blade. But no, like for me, like three of my 5 favorite games of this year were AAA, and that was Astrobot, Final Fantasy, and Metaphor. And like I said at the beginning, like that is very like fucking targeted with an orbital strike towards my interest. And if you're not interested in 100-hour JRPGs or you know, fucking colorful platformers that also act as museum pieces, I could see why you'd roll your eyes at these games getting awards and being like, well, what the fuck? But like, hell yeah, sign me up.
Well, even though these are, you know, classified as AAA, like 2 of the 3 do kind of follow that same formula of like, this is actually kind of a pared down, like single player thing. Like it's not this big bloated open world, whatever. Like Metaphor is the same formula running on like the same character models, whatever. Like they didn't have to spend $1 bajillion to get this new thing out there, even though it's from a AAA studio. And Astrobot, kind of same difference. Like this is the engine that they've been using for the stuff that they've been making, right?
Yeah, Astrobot is so funny just because of the timing this year of PlayStation having arguably its biggest misstep with Concord and like unprecedented pulling the plug on that game after 2 weeks. And then a few weeks later, Astrobot released, and that game ended up winning Game of the Year at the Game Awards and is nominated by most people. And you know, it's by Sony AAA standards, it's a smaller studio. I think it's like a 65-person team, and they made this like colorful, no paid DLC, like love letter to Sony's past. And to me, it winning at the Game Awards felt similar to other recent winners in that it almost felt like voters saying, we want this, not what you've been doing. People saying like, Sony, we want this from you, not that sort of chasing infinite money. Last year with Baldur's Gate 3, it almost felt like this is what we want from RPGs. Like this is what an RPG should be. 2 years ago with Elden Ring, it was like, oh, we're not sick of open worlds, we're sick of generic open worlds. Like
Right.
when an Elden Ring or a Breath of the Wild comes along, it feels like, no, do it like this. And so yeah, I'm curious if that's going to have any impact, because I think there's Elden Ring absolutely will have an impact on games going forward.
Yeah, I mean, it
Baldur's
already
Gate
is.
3, I think, will absolutely have an impact. It'll take a while to get there, but we'll see it. And I'm just curious if Astrobot will.
Yeah, one of the games I'm really looking forward to next year is called Hell Is Us, and it's a Souls. It's got Souls elements to it, but it's a more traditional action adventure game. But their big selling point is like there's no the world. They want you to go through the world and explore it everywhere, and they're not going to tell you where to go. They're not going to tell you what to do, kind of game.
Mhm.
And that's a big selling point of it. And like that's what so many open world games either have gotten wrong over the years, is like just having a giant open world for the sake of having a giant open world because it's pretty to look at, but then you get in there and it's like, okay, this is, there's nothing to do in it. And then Elden Ring, like you couldn't go more than probably 30 seconds without running into a dungeon or a boss or a secret area to collect something or whatever, or some piece of lore or whatever it was. Stalker 2 is kind of in that realm of like, it's a world that's very barren because it's, apocalyptic-ish, but also like so many points of interest to find and things that happen in the world. And I just think like either if you're going to scale up, you got to make it interesting. You're going to scale down to make sure there's enough content to fill that spot.
Yeah, I agree with that there. One of the other weird low points, or just things, is it felt like a few years ago we had that like little blip of like kind of needing to worry about like, oh, is this like NFT blockchain shit gonna like really take over? And it feels like that's been mostly just kind of shoot away. You still get the occasional example of something coming out with that. It feels like though we are getting to that point. Eric put it up exactly of being like, what is this? So this is this cat game that got shown off, in the middle of the fucking new game from Team Eco and the new game from Naughty Dog. This cat game got shown off at the Game Awards, and we were just like, okay, what is this? But it's like, here's some cute cats. And then afterwards, everyone's like, well, that's fucking AI generated. And there's like no digital footprint of its creators at all. And when they tried to like interview the creators, they're like, no, it's not AI. We'll see you next year. And it's like, who are you? Who are you? And what is this? And I'm just curious of like, are we going to have more of that? Like, fucking for all we know, like Casey and I got fucking hoodwinked by a Ponzi scheme in Dokkaevi. It can happen to people who even like mean well.
Like I don't know what Pearl Abyss's business model is, but it's not releasing games. I can tell you that much.
Crimson Desert just got their late 2025 date.
That's not releasing games. That's not releasing games. That's saying a year. Yeah.
But yeah, like it does. It feels like despite all of the kind of backlash, and again, this is something we need to be careful about, because like we, as people who are like tuned into the industry and are watching like a lot of our peers comment on the stuff that we're looking at in the industry, it's pretty across the board. Nobody wants this AI/blockchain shit. But if you just step outside of that bubble, there's a lot of folks who are like maybe tangentially interested in gaming who just don't give a shit. They're like, oh, give me whatever. It looks cool. Whatever's fine. Like their opinion on AI is, I can use ChatGPT to like ask a bunch of like really funny or really cool, really interesting questions that it gives me back really interesting, funny, amazing answers, whatever. So like they have a positive outlook on it. They don't know kind of all these other underlying ramifications of like what it could do to just art in general. They're like, oh, it's just a cool tool. That's how they see it, right? Yeah. So a lot of these companies are still operating with that in mind, because they have the feedback and the business research to show that like, yeah, folks want to see what AI can do. So the question is, will they do something that convinces them, or will the thing that they eventually do and release show them what the rest of us think is going to happen with it? And like either side could be right or wrong. We don't know. Like this could be once one of these things makes it out to market, it could be like, oh shit, this AI kind of just stole a bunch of shit and it's working. Like people are buying it and they don't know the difference. Or it's like, oh, this was really bad. People now have a bad taste of AI in their mouth. Like it could go either way.
Yeah.
The the development industry is actually like excited about the use of AI as a tool to help speed up processes and stuff like that. But creating the art, nobody's excited about that in the dev industry. So yeah, I don't know. Like, you know, if it, I think a lot of the devs see it as like, you know, if it could speed up the process of optimizing their game or something like that, you know, it's just like it's another, it's how you use it kind of tool, I guess, and not trying to generate a whole fucking movie like
and
what was that guy? Yeah, what was that guy that he tried to take the Studio Ghibli movie and turn it into an AI slap the best?
Well, and that's the thing is the creatives, I agree, are against that. It's not true that everyone in the games industry is against the idea of having AI turn this shit out, including the art.
Oh yeah,
because when people who don't know shit about this, but control the money, get it whispered in their ears of being like, "Oh man, we don't have to pay any of these fucking people.
Right, because that's
we
what
can just
is,
wipe out the rainforest and make fucking slop cat game." Like that's the scary thing is like that needs to like. I don't know. Something needs to happen to where
because like even outside of gaming, you keep seeing these like sort of things where people like these companies keep testing the water. Like an ad in the subway will show up, and then folks will be like, "Is that AI?"
Coca-Cola every year it does like a Christmas ad. Remember they used to do
I just heard about this.
And their one this year in the bottom it said made with whatever Dream AI, and it's like fucking Coca-Cola, one of like the mega corporations on Earth.
What was that? What was that one we just saw at the bar in Baltimore too?
It was
it is. Okay.
Yeah. Like all mad at it.
Can they copyright an AI ad on our YouTube channel? How does that work? Eric, are you gonna get us demonetized for running a AI bullshit ad?
Well worth it. I say. A couple super chats came in that I wanted to ping pong off of. Fat Cock with a $5 dono. Welcome, Fat Cock. I'm sorry you were so scared yesterday that we weren't on at the normal time, but we're back here. I'm gonna be real. This podcast feels like AI generated sometimes. Agree. I agree. I think there's been enough of us on the internet to where you could like feed us into an algorithm and you'll.
They've already been doing that to me this year.
Hot after we die. That would be nice.
See what I sound like. I want to be the judge on its authenticity.
You know what? If I die, I want you guys to pod with AI me still.
Before the AI craze, I remember back at the Escapist, I had to go help enthusiasts file a legal takedown on that AI generator for Yahtzee's voice that people were using to make zero punctuation using his voice in videos.
Oh, ew.
Yeah, one dude was just doing it just to mess with it, and like he apologized, but there were other channels that we had to go after that were like trying to make fake zero punctuation.
Slop. It's all slop. And then Quintuple A with a $2 dono. And this is what I wanted to ping pong off. It said, what game dominated your Steam year in review? Did you guys do any of those year in review? Like all the Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, and Steam all released their things.
I don't want to know how many hours I spent on video games. I just really don't.
So my problem with the Steam one is my number one game this year was Dokapon because so many of the games I played for work I played on our work account.
Right.
So,
yeah. So it's just not an accurate representation.
Yeah. But yeah, did you look at yours, Casey, at all?
The Xbox one was like emailed to me, so I did thumb through it, and of course, Unicorn Overlord by far was a game I played the most of because I played that on Xbox on my actual Xbox, whatever.
Yeah.
So but.
I'm sure Smash would be obviously your Switch one.
Probably. Like I didn't see anything from Nintendo, but it would probably be Smash.
I didn't get an email. I had to go to I saw like Wario64 tweeted out a website you just go to. So yeah, Nintendo don't send emails.
But yeah, I have no idea what Steam would say because my Steam is half Second Wind account and then stuff that we got to play for like game nights and
yeah.
I don't know, maybe Armored Core. Because I
could be.
Yeah, I bought that on Steam because it was like slightly cheaper, so maybe that.
There you go. One thing with that is one of the weird things of this year that I noticed is it felt like in the first month or two, it felt like there were going to constantly be these kind of like monoculture games, like a game that it feels like everyone's playing or at least everyone's talking about. We kicked off the year with Pal World, Balatro came out, Helldivers was like that. Again, these are games like I didn't care about, but I thought it was cool that like they just felt like everyone was gathering around and like playing these. It felt like one of those Elden Ring moments or like Breath of the Wild where like it just felt like everyone was playing it and talking about it. I don't feel like we had that for the first 2 months of the year, and then I just don't feel like we had that the rest of the year. And maybe that's indicative
baby
of
ones,
like little blips.
Yeah, like there, and some of them tied to controversy, whatever, right? Like
Sure.
like Wukong or Stellar Blade or whatever.
Yeah, or even Concord people just shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, feels like a little bit with like Marvel Rivals. I'm seeing a lot of people share Marvel Rivals shit now. Marvel Rivals, that's a hard one to say.
Yeah, and maybe because it's so late in the year, but like Indiana Jones, like everyone's so positive on it, but I've not been seeing like a string of videos of people showing off what they're doing in Indiana Jones. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
Good, no spoilers.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just even like the stuff I liked in the back, like Metaphor, it just felt like the people who were gonna be into it were into it, and it didn't really like find a whole new audience. I mean, I don't
know, that one was pretty strong. You guys convinced me to actually try it.
It did crack through. Like GameSpot named it their game of the year. I think IGN's naming their game of the year tomorrow. So like it's cracking through to a layer that like even the Persona games didn't really make it to. But maybe it's just maybe the we have all of these different games constantly being released and a lot of them segmented at different platforms. Maybe that means that people are playing a bunch of different things. People have updates of their ongoing games that come out, like a new Final Fantasy 14 drop or some new Warframe shit, and people go to that. And then people might just be playing games on Switch or might not have a PS5. So when Astrobot wins, they're like, "What the fuck is this little robot? Get him out of here!"
I'm just looking through, our Steam library, and I think one of the trends for me this year was like starting a lot of games and then just kind of petering out of them before too long.
That's me every year, buddy.
Yeah, I bet. Or like a couple that come to mind for me are like Banisher's Ghost of New Eden, which really I was excited for that, for all the marketing and everything like that, because it's exactly the type of game I like. Linear historical piece, action combat game.
I like the game quite a bit.
Did you? I like it, but the combat just doesn't hold up for me.
Yeah, I didn't reach the end, but again, it wasn't because like I got bored with it. It's just I had to move on to like other stuff.
Yeah,
but like I was having a good time with it. Like I would have liked to finish it. I thought that was okay, but it definitely flies under the radar.
Yeah, Pacific Drive is another one. Like I think a lot of people were really hyped for it, but then just didn't really get talked about throughout the rest of the year. Thaumaturge,
I keep forgetting that came out.
Thaumaturge came out from 11-bit as well, which was that top-down kind of fantasy set in Poland fantasy like investigation game, but also had like Persona like combat in it with like these little demigods. I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I just this year just didn't like really stick with me. Like I think next year will, because next year there's just a ton of games that are like are on the top of my radar, like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and everything like that right at the start of the year. Monster Hunter for UKC and 2025, at least the lineup right now, especially if we get Switch 2, looks like that's one of those banner years.
We'll do obviously probably our first show back. We'll do a 2025 look forward and everything. Maybe some predictions and some drafting or something if we could put that together. But not like going to Vietnam drafting, but like fantasy drafting. It's the year starts off slow for my kind of games. Compared to this year, like right off the bat, we had Like a Dragon Hawaii. I'm never gonna remember the names of these games, so I'm just gonna say Like a Dragon. And like this year, next year we have Like a Dragon Pirates, because I can't remember what they were called. But this year in January we had Like a Dragon Hawaii. We had that sick ass Prince of Persia game from Ubisoft, the Metroidvania one. And then in February we had Persona 3 Reload and Final Fantasy. So there was just like shit that was like geared towards me. And there's not quite, I think like the first big one next year that I'm really stoked for is Assassin's Creed, and that's still like I hope that's good, and I hope it getting delayed a couple months kind of really polishes it and brings it to that old school AC that I loved. But the first couple months are a little bit slow for stuff in my neck of the woods. However, like you said, we're probably I mean, I don't even know why. We're probably less than a month away from finding out about the Switch 2. He's said for the last 37 months.
Just like Galena just raised out of bed.
Yeah,
someone tell you you're wrong.
Did you say raised out of bed? Do you think he's sleeping?
Yeah. he was sick this week. I don't know what he's doing.
I think he's better.
Yeah,
he got over strep that fast. All right.
I don't know. Streptococcus. You got them antibiotics. I think it's really funny that it's called Streptococcus. But I think that's going to be a thing that like maybe people aren't dating their games because like GTA, which that report came out that like publishers are weary of dating a game in GTA 6's orbit. Like people don't know when, like, is Switch 2 going to be like revealed in January, launches in April, and it's got a new fucking Mario and a Mario Kart game. Like no one wants to be around there. But maybe it doesn't come out till June. Maybe it doesn't get revealed until March. Who knows?
Yeah, it's something to definitely keep everyone else on their toes.
Yeah.
But I kind of like the idea if it turned to a trend that we ping pong back and forth, where like the AAAs sort of get a break year, where it's like, all right, they go back into the mines, or like the ones who have had a couple of years are starting to get their stuff ready to go, and then the indies will have their time to shine because the AAAs are taking a break. So like we can focus on like these really, really good indies, because I'm sure even I'm positive actually in the year of just that, whatever we're going to call 2023, when it just released just bang after bang after banger, there were indie bangers as well, but like even less attention was being sent their way.
Yeah.
So
so maybe that was like beneficial for games like Animal Well and Balatro to like really get a spotlight on them this year, because they're able to, take a little bit of space in between and not just be overshadowed by, a new fucking Zelda game or a new FromSoft game.
Yeah, because I don't know. I mean, I don't care how like artsy fartsy you are. Like when GTA 6 drops, you're not playing fucking Balatro.
No, because there's probably gonna be a fucking Balatro inside of GTA 6. Yeah, your cousin can pull them up on your phone. That is. I am. 2023 did feel like it was that year where like the COVID drains unclogged, and so it's interesting. Though we're entering the back half of the console generation, and like when you look at so we are, this is the 4th year into this console generation. We're about to enter the 5th. So that would put us last generation at the end of 2017 going into 2018. So in the last generation, 2018 had stuff like God of War and Spider-Man. 2019 had Death Stranding. 2020 had The Last of Us Part 2. 2018 had Red Dead 2. Final Fantasy 7 Remake. So like it really does feel like if anyone's been kind of like, oh, this has been a slow generation, like I don't think we're going to feel the same way in a few years.
I don't even think we're going to. I mean, I think it's next year it's really hitting. I mean, just
next year is Microsoft's year. It does kind of feel like next year could be one of Microsoft's years, though, right? Like,
I mean, it feels like it. Like I still can't believe Outer Worlds 2 is slated for next year. Like it's
there's still about an Oblivion remaster, possibly also next year.
Apparently, what the rumor was, like that's getting revealed in a week. Is that what the
Christmas? That's not a good day to reveal a game.
I guess early January, I think is they said it's getting revealed. That's been rumored for a while, and I wouldn't be like that would be like one of my least surprising reveals from them, because that's a great way for them to test like new combat and stuff for the upcoming Elder Scrolls if they're going to work on mechanics there. But yeah, then the only other stuff I didn't get to this year that I really want to is the VR stuff that's come out, because the last few months for VR has just been killer to the people that have VR with the Batman Arkham Shadow, Alien Rogue Incursion. Which I don't think I saw any reviews drop for that today. I'll have to go back and look. Behemoth came out and people were really excited about that. And then there was one other one that I always forget, the fourth one that I always bring up. Metro Awakening. That's the other one. So yeah, I want to get to that. Yeah, Asgard's Wrath 2 came out this year too. Like really banner year for VR that just kind of went under the radar as usual for VR.
Yeah, because It's,
I mean, it feels like
it's,
VR has its base, and that like
It has
that
its
base hasn't
audience.
really grown, right?
yeah. They keep
And,
releasing new things, and it's like this is another $300-$400 thing.
all I know is MetaQuest is like the only VR system I trust at this point to actually release new exclusive stuff for it, because Valve's done nothing with the Index,
Yeah.
and
No, I mean, I
PlayStation's
think
done nothing with PSVR 2.
yeah, but I mean, I think what Casey's saying is like, if you buy a PS5, you're like, oh, I'm good for like the next 8 years.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
VR is like the
whereas-
phone market.
Yeah, and that's scary because like
Annoying.
I'm fine with having like I'm probably due for a new phone, but my phone's like 3 or 4 years old. 4 years old, I think, at this point. And I'm fine with that. But if it's like a thing on my face and I'm spending hours, like I want, if like every year they're like, oh, we got fucking glasses technology has advanced, I'd be like, well, shit, I need to get new glasses because I wear these every day, and like this is
Yeah.
gonna change my life. But yeah,
Yeah.
And yeah, VR just because even the good stuff, like it's like one or two things that individual who bought the headset would be into. Like I know that there's more than one or two things that's like good in VR, but like it may not be good for every VR person. So like they're only really gonna get attached to like one or two.
Yeah,
And,
maybe
you
VR
spent $350 on two things over the course of 3 years, and it's like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna buy the next one.
No, yeah, VR is like firmly planted itself in the enthusiast market. Is really where it is. And I think that's okay. I think like they understand that now. It's not going to break into the mainstream.
yeah.
And Sony may not still understand that, so maybe they shouldn't do PSVR 3 if they're planning that. But you know, if people keep buying it, why not keep selling it?
I can't imagine Sony's gonna do a PSVR 3. Right?
I thought that was the attitude for a second one, honestly.
Yeah, that's
But
what we all
they
thought about
did.
PSVR 2.
Yeah.
Listen, we're living in a good world where people are like, we don't want VR headsets. Bring back handhelds. Hell yeah. Bring back Vita. Give me my fucking Xbox Zune. I'm down for all of this.
Oh god, Xbox Zune.
Big Zune.
Just give me my
big Zune
pass
boy.
through on my Xbox again.
Yeah, that's true. Just give us that. A couple more super chats came in. Zoobmare with a $2 dono. Thank you so much, Zoob. So many dumpster fires as a service. What a year. Are we done? Like, are we getting another? Like, was this? We're like Concord and Suicide Squad the apex of this? And are we on the other side of the hill, or are we still climbing?
I think it's shifted to the Gacha stuff.
Casey, wake up. We're talking Gacha.
But I've not heard anything about any big Gacha game that has launched and has like shuttered though. Like I know that there's a couple of new Gachas that are coming. It's I've yet to see if they've come and are now failures. Like all the big ones that have launched have been doing well for the most part. Even the ones that aren't as big as the big ones are still doing well.
Do we know how big the Genshin Impact team is?
It's got to be in. I mean that. How many
Like,
games they have?
Are each of those MiHoYo teams? Are each of them like 150 plus person teams?
I don't know.
Are
Actually,
those like AAA teams? Like I don't know.
I would assume they're AAA teams because they're definitely doing AAA work.
I want someone who's smarter than me to make a cool video essay on it that I can watch and put jazz behind it. Like make a cool video essay.
So the Gacha games, like compared to the Western. I mean, if we're gonna be real, like live service games in the West are Gacha games essentially too. But the Gacha games just have their market in the eastern part of the world. Like they don't need the Western market to be successful.
That's true.
and
they keep, you know, they bring them here because people want them now, and people are getting into them. But
I mean, Casey, if they fucking announce the Persona, finally bring the Persona Gacha game to the States in English,
I'm
a Gacha boy. We can just become the Gacha boys. Like that's fine. Yeah.
I just did a quick Google search. Apparently, MiHoYo has more than 5,000 employees across its offices. So that
the first quintuple A developers. Ooh, over Skull and Bones, we got a quintuple A game here.
At the rate that they release those expansions for Genshin and how big and expansive they are,
and as much money as they bring in, like
they're living large over there.
Yeah.
No wonder that game has so much art.
Yeah, the game's got a lot of art.
As far as live service stuff for 2025, Well, I mean, Western live service stuff. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. Like Battlefield, whatever. But I don't know. Like it's going to be a live service, but we'll see what EA pulls out for that one. But like Ubisoft has the only rumored one in development is the multiplayer Far Cry game, which is supposed to be some extraction game. In case he can't say anything, he works at Ubisoft. But the reports are just coming out about that one, and like Far Cry 7 taking pretty radical changes to its gameplay.
Isn't it Far Cry 6?
Yeah, it's the one set in South America.
Oh, the one with Giancarlo Esposito?
Yeah.
Jesus, what happened? How did that get deleted?
As a fan of all the previous Far Cry games, I got bored in that one. It finally did it. Like it was just too much Ubisoft formula for my taste.
Oh my god, I forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is the 6th one.
Yeah, but I really like.
Not even.
I
right?
really
Because
liked
there were some.
5, though.
There were
really
some
liked
that
5.
didn't have numbers, so it's actually more than a 6th one.
That's true. There was all the angry ones. I don't know why you do that. Primal.
Angry.
Yeah, like so. EA's kind of reverted back to the sports being their live service bread and butter, and then possibly Battlefield next year. But other than that, like all their other announced stuff and talked about stuff is single player with like the Iron Man game, the Black Panther game. Ubisoft's live service plans. Somehow Skull and Bones is getting a year 2 of content, apparently. Did not see that coming after what we've talked about that.
I mean, honestly, they might legally have to.
They probably do, and also like I don't know. The thing with Ubisoft is like when they actually put the time in to fix their live service games and let them grow, they end up being pretty good over time. So I don't know what they're.
Siege is always one of those games we point to of like, oh, this was like up there with Final Fantasy 14 and like No Man's Sky as like turnaround comeback stories kind of thing.
Yeah, but I don't know. Hopefully they're adding like hand-to-hand combat in that game at some point, because this is what people are asking for is just Black Flag 2, basically. So Ubisoft, EA, both not really any live service games that they've talked about. PlayStation has Marathon, and as far as we know, like and then the heist game, Fair Games, whenever they reveal that. Yep. Yeah. And then Xbox's lineup has almost no live service stuff, really. It's like all single player RPGs
we'll see what, like,
action
State of
games.
Decay is. Right.
Yeah, State of Decay will be live service. We know that.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. I think that trend is kind of over, because like, any of the ones that are still in development are coming from the Asian game market, or there's just a few stragglers. Like there's the Exoborn one coming from Shark Mob, which we saw back at GDC. I think Casey, you were there for that one.
Awards.
Yeah,
I was there. I wasn't there.
I don't remember who was with me then.
Either of us.
Oh, but fuck, I don't remember. But, yeah. So yeah, the extraction genre is the one genre that just like really hasn't taken off like they thought the industry thought it would.
I mean, isn't that just like a type of multiplayer? Like, is it like a genre? Isn't it like a subgenre?
It's a subgenre of FPS market now, yeah.
But I mean, I always just think of extraction as like a mode. Like they'd be like saying the capture the flag genre or the King of the Hill genre.
But they released a whole game with just that as the genre. Then just that as the mode. Then that's kind of the genre, right?
No, I guess and that's probably
because Battle Royale could have been a mode. In fact, it was a mode.
It was supposed to be. It was like
original Fortnite.
Fortnite. Yeah. No, that's 100% probably just my ignorance.
Marathon's an extraction game. That next game from Embark, not the finals. What's the other one they're working on? I always forget the name of it. Yeah, Eric will pull it up at some point on screen, but that one's an extraction game. Exoborn's an extraction game, and then a few others are in development, like the game from Dr. Disrespect's former studio, all extraction stuff.
We're not.
I feel like we probably we don't have to devote too much time to that.
Probably not.
A couple more super chats came in. Harry Sun with $5 Australian. Thank you so much, Harry Sun. Great year for indies, solid year for AAA. Have a great holiday, gents. Looking forward to more content in the new year. Also, Final Fantasy VII Goatee, Harry Sun. You have great taste. I think about those Final Fantasy folks a lot, and I hope they're doing well. And I feel like Square is losing so much money on those games. Square is losing so much money on those games. They're like, we need to finish this trilogy so we could just make a 2D HD Chrono Trigger and make our money back. Which is
probably... Are they not selling well?
I don't think
as well as they need them to.
Right, yeah. Square Enix's sales expectations, yeah, that's a running joke.
And like the problem with this trilogy is like it doesn't feel like sometimes like Mass Effect felt like a series, and I might be wrong with this, that got more popular as the trilogy went on. Whereas this feels like it peaked with that first one, and then fewer people bought the second one. And maybe part of that is maybe you shouldn't just launch it as an exclusive on PlayStation. Maybe you should also put it on PC, and put it on Xbox while you're at it. And so that's
Sony doesn't own this studio. There's no reason they shouldn't be launching these on Xbox.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Square just has the data where it's like our games do not sell on Xbox. No matter what we do.
I'm convinced.
Yeah,
you would think they have that data for all the live service they're trying to do that won't sell on PlayStation.
Yeah, and I mean, Microsoft seems like they have a much better working relationship with Sega, because they've had like a lot of either marketing deals or Game Pass deals with Yakuza, with the Persona series. I think a lot like the Persona, Metaphor, Yakuza, and maybe even Unicorn Overlord. Like PR was sending out Xbox codes as those, almost like as a default. So like that was sort of the not an exclusive deal, but maybe some handshakes,
relations.
Yeah, some kisses. Sonic the Hedgehog kissing Phil Spencer. Meanwhile, that human woman all offended in the corner. The human woman from Sonic 06. Fungus Finder with. Oh no, what were you saying?
Go ahead.
You want to talk about Sonic kissing? No, we can talk about.
No, I don't. No, I don't at all.
Fungus Finder with a $2 dono. Caucus means round or ball or something, you sicko. Caucus means round or ball or something, you sicko.
Sounds like a spell.
That is exactly how I would enunciate trivia questions at trivia. I would read it once, and then I would slow down and repeat it and enunciate it. Except I didn't understand what any of that meant. And the trivia questions I understood because I wrote them. So caucus means round or ball or something, you sicko.
I think that was referencing you.
The Streptus.
Streptococcus.
Streptococcus. Sounds like a Hogwarts spell.
See, that's the problem is if I would have read it right when you said it, I probably would have remembered the Streptococcus, but I didn't. Ages ago, eons ago. And then Jewel Rao with a €2 dono. Thank you so much. Have a nice holiday break, y'all. You guys slay. Thank you so much, Jewel.
Oh, thank you.
We appreciate you. Any last thoughts on the year before we move into what we've been playing and watching?
I was gonna say this feels like the year that Xbox has gotten more confusing as a brand.
I still want to watch that video. I saw a video making the rounds, and someone in digital advertising broke down the whole "this is an Xbox" campaign.
Yeah,
apparently it's like a really good video of like why this mostly works, but kind of fumbled the ball. I have no idea. Hopefully the video is not racist because I'm recommending it right now. But I'm going to watch it. Yeah, thumbs up.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, because they got more confusing as a brand because
just. Not this campaign. Like this campaign makes perfect sense to me. We've been talking about this for how many years now where Xbox is a ecosystem and not a platform anymore.
Company.
Yeah. But knowing where and what exclusives they're going to have and where they're going to be and what games are launching on what platform from them anymore. And
no, that's a good point. Yeah, Indiana Jones possibly coming to PlayStation in April and that kind of thing. And then going forward,
Outer Worlds 2 is already announced for PlayStation, and I guarantee Skyrim's coming to play. I mean, the next Elder Scrolls is coming to PlayStation now. It'd be stupid not to. How long before they announce Starfield for PlayStation to get a second round of sales for that game? I think exclusives to Xbox just doesn't matter anymore. And also, like, have we gotten the numbers yet on? I know there were reports that when Call of Duty launched on Game Pass, it significantly boosted their numbers. But I don't think they've released any data from in-house yet on that. And I'm waiting to see those numbers in quarter one. Hopefully quarter one.
They're waiting for after the holiday season.
Yeah, the holiday season for everybody. More people getting Xboxes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if that boosted their numbers in the way that it sounds like it did, that kind of makes the case for exclusives just don't really matter. It's where, can we just, if I can just get Call of Duty on Game Pass, then I'll subscribe to that and they get a monthly subscription fee out of you.
Yeah. And then you don't cancel it because Call of Duty keeps going. And well, I guess it doesn't matter because you could play. You can just play Warzone for free. You can't play like Call of Duty Black Ops 6
multiplayer. Yeah. But like the kicker there is, when you buy the yearly subscription for Xbox, like Ultimate or whatever, you're bundling in your, Xbox Live Gold with Game Pass. So like at that point, it's like, why not?
Sure. Also, Xbox Live Gold, that should just be free. You should be able to play online for free. What are we doing?
Can't play online for free on PlayStation either.
Agree. I think, and fucking Nintendo, I don't know what's going on. No, the stream's dead. There's just a lot of apps.
There's no data.
Oh, no.
Now it's back. Looks like we're back.
Mobile data. Oh, yeah. His internet died. He said mobile data enabled. Are we back? We're back, boys.
Yeah, chat says we're back.
Okay, we're back.
Baka boys.
I don't know where we died, but I said that this has been the generation of PC games, and then Casey
said you're wrong.
agreed.
This was clearly the generation of Switch.
Oh, and then Casey agreed, and then I was right forever, and Marty just voided himself.
No, I mean, I disagree. Maybe the next generation, like maybe going forward, will be. I think, I don't know. Not like Switch is about to become the best-selling console of all time next year. Like,
oh yeah.
Well, no, aren't they re-releasing the PS2s? They're gonna.
Oh no.
They're gonna come snatch the title back.
Shuhei Yoshida's leaving Sony. You'd be like, oh, by the way, we found out we sold 5 million extra PS2s. What do we do? Yeah.
We're so far in the future that we're gonna start downgrading our consoles.
Yeah.
But
it is interesting though. Yeah. Tyrell will a PC exclusive ever win Game of the Year? Like Half-Life Alyx might have been the closest thing a few years ago.
But that's like exclusive as
double exclusive.
Yeah.
For a PC game to win, or for an exclusive PC game to win Game of the Year, it'd have to be like an amazing RTS or something.
But even those, like Civilization's coming to consoles.
That's not.
I don't actually know if that's true.
It is coming to consoles. Yeah, it's coming to consoles. It's even coming to Switch. Now you're gonna play it.
Never lie to you. No, I'm not. I still don't care about Civilization.
Oh no.
I just want to. I like everything about it except the idea of playing it. I like everything about it except playing it. All right, let's move on to what we've been playing. What we've been watching. Do we want to start off with Secret Level?
Sure. Yeah. Let's knock that out.
Okay. We can burn through these. Sorry, Nick. We'll do the same thing we did last time. Just go one by one. We'll give quick thoughts, what we thought, how we felt about them, that kind of thing. The first one was The Outer Worlds, not The Outer Wilds. The Outer Worlds. The
lesser one.
The lesser one. Although, I thought this one was delightful, to be honest. Not my favorite. I thought it was delightful.
Yeah, I was a little shaky on it at first.
Okay.
Like The Outer Worlds, its regular art style is a little. It's like not supernatural, but it's hyper real, right? Like
yeah.
It has a bit of like a stylization to it. This felt too real, and like it was kind of throwing me off. Like it was like Uncanny Valley in terms of like the faces look super real and the head proportions look real, but then some of the body stuff was just a little goofy and like they moved weird. Like that was a big distraction for a lot of it, and it took like maybe until halfway through the episode. And this was kind of a long one. Like, I didn't expect this to be that long, but this was
I think this was one of the longest ones. Yeah,
it wasn't until like the middle towards the end that like I started actually getting to the story and stop being distracted by how weird it looked to me.
Yeah, I liked that it played with tone. I liked that the first half of it felt like kind of silly, that montage of all the guys' different jobs and everything, and then it became pretty fucking dark and like by the end like really fucked up. But
so have you played Outer Worlds, or that's one of those?
Yeah, I actually played. Okay, I think like 8 or 9 hours of it because it came to Game Pass. When it came out at the end of 2019, and I was like, I'll just try this out. And yeah, I like enjoyed it. Honestly, I played more Outer Worlds than I've ever played a Bethesda game or like a Fallout or a Elder Scrolls game or anything.
And that's what I was gonna ask was like, did this episode sort of match the tone in the game in a way that you felt was like, this is like my experience in the Outer Worlds?
It matched the tone, but it did not do the thing of making me want to revisit that world in game form.
Gotcha.
Whereas I think like the really successful ones of these were like, fuck, I want to like, I don't care about this thing, but I kind of want to play a game in this world.
Yeah, because it was like cool story, bro. But like, what part of this is a video game?
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
So
I was kind of lukewarm on that one, but that was one of the better ones out of the whole batch.
The next one was maybe the shortest of all of them, sadly for us, was Mega Man, which this just felt like a teaser for a Mega Man movie or
a series. Like, yeah, first of all, I really liked it. Like, this one had a stylization on top of like the sort of hyper real graphics that worked. Like, if like I would sit down in a movie theater to watch a Mega Man that looked like this. But it's, and we already knew this, like it's so similar, like the Mega Man lore with like Astrobot, like not Astrobot, I'm sorry, Astro Boy.
Yeah.
And like I've seen the Astro Boy like CG movie. It feels like this is the same movie.
Yeah.
Like it's really just kind of like being of the Astro Boy film. And all of that works because like I liked it a lot. And like Mega Man as a concept I like a lot. They even hit you at the end with like the nostalgic like needle drop and stuff.
Yeah.
Play with that cool rendition of the love music. Like it's way too short, honestly. Like we needed to see more of what this was going to be. And like that's really my only complaint is that it's way too short. Like this is a trailer, like an extended trailer.
The one interesting thing is my theory by the end of this is all of these are meant to be advertisements for new and future projects. And that I am now positive between seeing Okami come back and then interviews with Capcom saying that they wanted. What's up?
Okay, I think Eric's internet's dipping out again.
Are we alive? Chat. Do we exist? Acknowledge us, to quote the great Roman Reigns.
I'm going to set us. I'm going to open OBS and prepare to take over hosting.
Oops.
Ooh.
Remember when we had Oobs in Metroid?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
What a great moment.
When you say Oobs, I think of Dragon Ball Z.
Oobs.
Yeah.
Wait.
Majin Buu?
Majin Buu's reincarnation. All right, Eric is gonna switch.
Are we back?
Internet.
Are we alive?
I think so. Are we back?
Okay. Okay.
Yes. Eric, could you DM me the overlay for
Firelink? JIC.
Okay, so we're back right now. All right.
Okay, we're back. I don't think you guys missed anything. We were talking about the Mega Man episode of Secret Level, and apologies again for dipping out. Should be good now. Maybe. So my theory with this is that all these are advertisements for what were planned to be upcoming projects or current projects. Obviously, Concord is a whole different thing that we'll talk about. But I think after the Okami reveal over the weekend or last week, and then Capcom saying that they are interested in revisiting a bunch of their legacy properties, I am fully convinced now that a Mega Man game is in the works. Also, in the credits of this episode, it credits two senior producers at Capcom who have not really worked on Mega Man games in the past, but work on Monster Hunter games. And so the idea is like they're crediting these people because this thing is already in development, and that these people might be
like whatever this is connected to whatever they're working on.
Right? Yeah. If not like a direct, like this is going to lead into it, just more of like a brand synergy, like Mega Man. You remember him?
Like even the title of it, right? Like kind of alludes, like it's called Mega Man Start.
Yeah. And like I could see if they want to almost do like make in Mega Man Legends, like it really like characterizes and makes Mega Man into like this kind of like anime protagonist, and that kind of seems like a similar thing that they were doing for here. But yeah, I really liked it. It was just too short.
Way too short.
Yeah. But what are you gonna do? The following
make it longer is what you're gonna do.
I guess I could literally make it longer. Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's really no way to solve this problem.
Damn, KC, we're the two smartest men in the room.
The next one was Exodus, which is for a game that is not released yet. It is an upcoming sci-fi RPG from a bunch of folks who worked at BioWare, which you can kind of get a little Mass Effect feel. They actually just released a big gameplay dump of it. This was the one that was revealed.
Oh, okay,
The game was
I need to see
revealed
that.
at the last Game Awards. So a year ago, and
Right,
Matthew McConaughey was like doing VO or
Yeah.
introduced it or whatever. The gameplay looks really cool. Just looks like, to me, it just looks like Mass Effect. But this one was I wasn't there for the first half of it. The first half was a ton of VO, and it felt like an exposition dump. And I was like, "What are we doing?" Like,
And that kind of, from that point forward, that sort of kept reoccurring.
Yeah, in a weird way, right? Like,
I did think it was odd that a lot of talking was happening by just this disembodied voice.
Mm-hmm.
But once things got rolling, like I was into the sort of Interstellar-esque plot that they were telling.
Yeah, I love the idea of time moving differently for people depending on like where they're vamping in the universe. Yeah.
But that being said, I don't know if they pulled off the story itself. Like it was way too confusing, honestly. Like they did nothing to sort of ground you in any real way to make you care about the events. I just thought the events themselves were a cool concept. Yeah,
and I really liked like the ending of it, even though I was like, like you said, it kind of felt choppy to get there.
Yeah,
but I liked kind of the end of it. But they got me somewhat interested in Exodus, the game. So I guess job well done ish.
Yeah, honestly, I wanted to look up more, just to find out like what was this, because I hadn't heard of it, but then realized I had heard of it. It just hadn't come out yet.
Yeah, one of the rare ones that's just not out. Yeah. The next one was
some of their selections is kind of interesting for the. I mean, obviously it's a lot of marketing, but just like there's no connection to Exodus yet, so why put the money into this?
Yeah. I mean so the series got announced for a second season, and after we finish these off, I'm curious if you guys have any thoughts on what you'd like to see from the second season. But after Exodus was Spelunky, another pretty short one. I like that this one felt visually stylish, not as stylish as like Sifu, but more of that what we were saying last week of like really play around with art styles and everything. And I really liked how the short played with the idea of roguelikes and of playing games and getting better at them, not because your character is getting better at them, but because literally you are getting better. The knowledge you have in a game like this means a Spelunky run, you can make it further because of the knowledge you have from all the times you died. And I liked the tone of it. I liked, as someone who likes Spelunky, like there's a bunch of every time something would pop up, I'd be like, "Oh, I remember that from Spelunky 1 or 2." So I thought it was just a nice, relatively light one.
So I feel kind of differently in that I appreciate that they tried to take that concept of the roguelike experience of like you're dying, but you learn from your deaths and whatnot, and trying to turn it into this sort of like romanticism in terms of like, oh, like this, like all of those lives mean something, like they make up like the fabric of blah blah blah. But it somehow felt really hollow, and I really can't put my finger on why or how. Like maybe it's because I personally have not played the Spelunky games all that much, like maybe that's why. But like I don't know, it felt like a jump. Like the concept of repeated deaths being attributed to gaining knowledge could only make sense in a video game. But like, were they in a video game? No, like it was like two people who were sort of cursed and trapped in this cave for like eternity. So like the actual situation of the story really wasn't that like loving or romantic. It was kind of scary, and they didn't address that part.
Sure. Yeah, to me it was just like an allegory for like, oh, our failures and our stumbles in life are
right. But these two characters are in hell.
Yeah, and I'm like, one of them's like a child, and I'm like, get this girl to like a warm house, like some hot cocoa. Like, so she's suffering just death after death.
There's just a little bit of a dissonance with in terms of like how they were trying to get that point across. So like that just sat with me. So like that was my only big complaint about that.
You a big Dora the Explorer guy?
She does look like Dora. Yeah, she's definitely giving Dora vibes.
Dora vibes. Concord was the next one. to me, it just felt like when they showed off Concord with that like little CG movie, it just felt like more of that. Like this felt like this was supposed to be a thing in one of the seasons of Concord of like, this week here's a little heist video, or we're trying to break this lady out. And just the whole time I was just very sad at the whole everything Concord. It just was very sad. Like it's like when a movie comes out after an actor's died.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But like, it wasn't even like a good one. There's like, we want to posthumous Oscar
your
for
last
this
movie, yeah.
Like this was really bland to me, and that's been Concord's problem. Like from jump, is that like it just hasn't had any stickiness. And now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, like these, like the cast of characters in Concord, the cast of characters in this episode in general, all feel like just background Guardians of the Galaxy people. Yes. But when you really think about it, the Guardians of the Galaxy themselves also kind of just look like background characters in their own thing. The difference is the writing. The difference is like the time you get to spend with them and you get to learn about them. And that's what makes them interesting, not necessarily just how they look, because they all look generic. Like Peter Quill, Chris Pratt, like he's a generic human being.
Oh yeah, Drax is just a big green guy.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Every sci-fi thing is
Gamora's a green lady. There's a blue lady. There's a raccoon. Just a raccoon.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they're not that interesting. It's the writing that needs to.
Yeah, and the writing makes every single pairing or grouping of the Guardians have a different dynamic, and it's interesting. You're like, I want to see what, like after the blip, you had like Rocket and Nebula, and I'm like, I don't know if these two have ever shared a scene together, but that's interesting.
Yeah,
like, I like their dynamic.
It was interesting.
Yeah,
Concord, like, not to stomp on that grave too much, but like, I cannot believe like you would open your game with a cutscene trying to introduce characters by standing around a table talking to one another with no action, nothing. Like
Like even with the action, because this
it wouldn't have made the characters any better. It just like there was no hook at all to even playing Concord when you loaded it up. Like there was nothing there. Like that is like one of those games that I would just never understand how it got to where it was. I maintain the gameplay was very good. But everything else just boring, generic, made no sense.
Yeah, probably just sanded down all the edges after iteration or something.
Cubic and Chess is like starting a game on a Zoom call. Literally, that's what it was.
Fuck around with the Zoom game.
Oh man.
The second to last episode. My favorite episode
on Honor of Kings,
the
right?
Series, the hit game Honor of Kings.
That's
I still haven't Googled. I don't know what that is.
They're working on a really cool
mobile MOBA.
Yeah, but they're also turning it into a AAA open world RPG, and it looks really good.
Ooh.
If it's going to be set here, fucking sign me up, because I loved this one.
This one was great.
It starts at the line, I was orphaned by a city in constant motion. And I was like, that's like a really cool, like poetic way to say, like, I grew up in a city that was constantly moving and constantly evolving. And then all of a sudden the buildings start moving. And I'm like, the city's literally in constant motion.
Literal.
I was like, you weren't kidding. I thought if these were supposed to be short stories, like shorts, like a short fiction story of get us in, tell a good story, and then get us out, this was the one. I loved this story. I loved the back and forth between the main character and the city god, whoever the hell he was.
Sort of AI entity
thing. Had like heavy, like if anyone watched Three Body Problems earlier this year, it reminded me a lot about that. I liked that their whole tete-a-tete was over the game of Go. The reveal at the end, the sort of cyclical nature of the episode. Apparently it's a MOBA. I'm looking at footage now. I'm never going to play this game.
Well, I think this is the thing Nick just mentioned, like the action RPG that's coming.
The mobile. Yeah, this is the action RPG. Yeah, the mobile game is a MOBA, I think.
Okay. Mobile. Yeah, what did you think of this one, Casey?
Yeah, I like this a lot. And like you, like I had no idea what this franchise was. I had to look it up after the fact and was like, this doesn't look anything like what they just showed me. And then come to find out that like, apparently like I think the main character in this is a character in the MOBA, but like totally different like setup, totally different like personification or whatever.
So this is just like a little arcane.
Yeah,
right?
like they just wrote a thing, and like it's sort of based on like the IP, but like they kind of really just did their own thing. And the thing they did was just this really deep philosophical sort of question and answer period. Like like there's not like action in it, right? It's literally two characters like talking and like philosophizing, like pitting their wills against each other with like this super cool sci-fi backdrop of like, oh, like this all-knowing city is falling apart and somebody's trying to do something about it.
Yeah.
Like it was dope.
Yeah, just a short 15-minute story about like what happens when someone who firmly believes in, determinism meets someone who firmly believes in free will. Like
Right. Yeah.
And that's just cool. Like we've seen that before, but that's cool. I like that. Yeah, and I thought the animation was great.
Yeah, this animation looked really, really good. Like they and again, like they could have gone the route of what the original game looked like. They didn't. They just like whatever this was feels fully divorced from the thing that it's actually named after. Like someone just did what they wanted with this.
Sure. Yeah. Just pretty cool episode. So showing that like you don't have to adapt something I love for me to be like, oh, that was a really good short. I liked that New World short from last week.
Right, yeah, that was a good example of just a fun story in that world.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily owe a lot to that world, just a good story.
Yeah. And then the last one is the weirdest one. This is the PlayStation one. This is not based on a game. However, it is based on of two made-up characters, and all of a sudden they're encountering all of these familiar Sony IP, including Kratos and the Helldivers and the third Colossus from Shadow of the Colossus and the dude from Journey and Sackboy.
Yeah, Sackboy shows up for a little bit.
When everyone who's mad at Astrobot winning Game of the Year says this is just hollow fan service, and I vehemently disagree with it. This is just hollow fan service. That's what this is. This is what they mean. And I'm like, why did this exist? And the fact that in the marketing, that shot of Kratos that we see right there is like a main part of secret level marketing, and all he does is appear for 3 seconds. Like, why? Wow. What is this?
Really?
Yeah,
is it? I heard the plot is like it's like some like random character getting thrown through the Sony world.
Yeah, it's like a girl who's like an Amazon delivery driver in the near future.
It's like kind of dystopian in that like she's like connected via AR goggles, and like they're gamifying her job to deliver packages to people, and like she's like dissatisfied with that. And then some rando hands her what could be a bomb. Just some random man hands her a box like, hey, deliver this for me. She's like, I don't know. Could be dangerous. He's like, trust me, I'm white.
Yeah.
But it turns out it's like this weird, it's something. I don't know what it is actually, but that thing is sort of being targeted by the PlayStation universe. So as soon as she has it, PlayStation thing start trying to get it from her, and then it's her running away for like the entirety of the episode.
So she's like attacked by the Helldivers, and they're like, we are spreading democracy, as they're trying to shoot this girl in the middle of fucking New York.
All the Helldivers dialogue was really funny though.
They are funny. Yeah, because they just seem like dipshits, which is great. And then I was like, I'm rarely offended. I was offended when the Colossus from Shadow of the Colossus showed up. Because literally, like, while I was watching these, I started taking notes on my phone of like what would be cool ones for a season 2. And I was like, it'd be cool to get a short in one of the Team Eco games in season 2. And then the Colossus showed up, and I was like, fuck you.
Oh, we're not going to get it now?
You wasted it. You wasted it here. And I obviously love like PlayStation history. I love the games this is based off. Like when the difference to me is like Astrobot handled it with care, and this game handled it, or this short, this just felt like a fucking commercial. It felt like one of those commercials that airs every year.
Like Eric is airing, like I just remembered, and
this is a commercial.
Yeah, like this is Sony's current ad campaign. I think it's like you're looking at a city, and like stuff is transforming around it, and like PlayStation characters are showing up, and people are like parkouring through whatever. That was literally all they did. Sony was like, hey, just
This is a
do
commercial
that.
from a while ago because fucking Knack just showed up, so I don't think this is a current one.
No, there is a current one where they're like parkouring through a
Yeah.
city or whatever. But yeah, like they specifically asked, I guess, or like, hey, just make it a commercial, and it's bad. Like
Maybe they just didn't get the memo. Like it makes them look bad.
yeah,
Like,
it
everyone
really
else
does.
fucking tried at least. Even
It
the
really
worst of the
does.
other ones tried.
And like there is like a through line that they attempt, almost as if like someone was trying to tell a story despite the mandate of like just throw in a bunch of these IPs.
Yeah.
But that kind of doesn't get any. It doesn't really get a chance to get off the ground. Really, it's like this sort of like discontent gamer who has to
Yeah.
rediscover her love for games, like play.
It almost
But,
like
like-
finds her childhood and that like
Right.
internal whimsy and joy because she almost got fucking killed by Helldivers or whatever.
But like it doesn't track because the thing that she rediscovers were the things that were trying to kill her. They were trying to stop her. Like, is PlayStation the bad guy in this commercial?
Corporate's
Like,
coming
who
to
knows?
get you.
Yeah. It is insane that these commercials exist because this is just what that thing was.
Yeah, these are the current ones.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Silly. Not a fan of it.
It was bad.
Not
It was really bad.
Not a fan of it, but overall, very much a fan of the secret level project and am looking forward to. I'm glad it seemingly did well in season 2.
Yeah, I'm glad there's season 2 coming. I
hope,
very much still am in love with the concept. I do think these last 7 episodes were overall weaker than the first 8.
I would agree. Yeah.
I don't know. They got to try harder. They got to put. And I'm wondering if like the brands who have stories made about them had to pitch in at all, and maybe that's why some got lengthier time spots
Sure.
than others. Like Capcom was like, well, we don't need to spend several $1 million on a Mega Man short. We're gonna make the Mega Man game, so
Yeah.
like just make it quick.
Whereas Crossfire was like, please, we need people to know about Crossfire.
Right.
It's a 20-minute action movie. So what do you, from a season 2, do you want stories to continue or do you want new stories?
Some of them, yes, absolutely.
I like to see
And-
them open up to indie stuff.
Yeah, that'd be nice
Well,
too.
we have some indie stuff. We have Sifu, we have Spelunky.
Yeah, Spelunky, true. Yeah.
Yeah. Watching the Spelunky one, I was like, oh, I can imagine like a fucking Outer Wilds short or a Celeste short. Like in terms of indies,
A Hollow Knight
like,
one.
a fucking Hollow Knight one.
If you
Real
get
Tim
that
Cherry's not
before
doing nothing
Silksong
else.
comes out, I think people will destroy the internet.
Yeah, other I jotted down a couple like worlds I would want to see. A BioShock one, anything in Rapture, I think would be cool.
Oh,
You
yeah.
gotta fight Netflix for that.
Anything.
Oh yeah,
this
you know
is-
what?
yeah.
Yeah, anything that's probably getting a full adaptation probably
Kratos is God of War's getting an Amazon series.
that doesn't
But
count.
it's on Amazon.
It doesn't
Ah,
count. Anything
fuck.
PlayStation put in the thing
It
does
is.
not count.
I'm gonna save my favorite one for last. I would love a Grim Fandango, a Jet Set Radio. I think a FromSoft thing could work. I think if don't make a FromSoft movie, just do a little
Like
do a little FromSoft itty in here.
Yeah, well, like a little no talking sort
No
of thing,
talking, no
right? Yeah.
dialogue needed. Just have a
Yeah.
hunter going through Yarnum or someone going through Lordran. However, my number one, a fucking Katamari. Could you imagine
Yeah,
a
that's so
Katamari
weird.
where that shit just keeps getting bigger and like how terrifying that would be, and having like I don't know who would voice like Jeff Goldblum voicing like the King of all Cosmos, like hungover and just like yeah. Oh,
No,
sorry.
that
Yeah,
works.
Armored Core is I meant FromSoft as in fantasy FromSoft, but yes, obviously FromSoft is already
Right,
open to
that's
that
true.
with Armored Core. Yeah. I am being mecha-phobic, so apologies. Yeah, did you have any Casey that you would? I mean, obviously, you said you'd like to see some of these return. Right?
Yeah, I do kind of want to see part 2s for some of the stories they've done. I don't think we'll see Nintendo stuff, but like I would love like a real whimsical, like a little Kirby short.
Or like a sick ass Star Fox, like Dogfight.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Like yeah.
Yeah.
Like some just like the thing that gets me excited about this sort of thing is more so the idea of like getting to dig a little deeper on just a character you love, right?
Mhm.
Because a lot of the games don't bother, especially like some of the older ones, because they're all gameplay. Like, dude, like
Yeah.
the Pac-Man thing was great. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah,
I'm intrigued now, right? Because they turned the concept, the abstract concept of the Pac-Man game, into a fun little horror story.
Mhm.
Like, give me
And now
give me
then turning
something.
that into a game. Like that is
Yeah, and now that's getting a game.
they
Yeah.
announced the game 2 days later. Yeah.
So like, I don't know, like how do we turn like NBA Jam into one of these? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh my god.
like I just like
That would
just
be amazing. The
yeah,
ball's on
just-
fire. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Like just make it. I don't know. Like let folks go wild, right?
Yeah.
Just like I don't know how this process works. I don't know if they approach studios or if studios approach them.
Yeah, I would
Like,
be
I'm really
fascinated
curious.
to know. Yeah, yeah. What got left on the cutting room floor? Like, what did they try to do? Like a Control one or something, and they couldn't make the deal go through? Or like, can you not do a Zelda one because? Well, Nintendo probably doesn't give a shit, but like, we're already doing our own Zelda movie, so you know that's yeah.
I would
Yeah,
like
well-
Blur just to get a budget and make a Halo show that's actually fucking good.
Does Blur have writers? Like, I think they just.
I don't know, but all they need to do is adapt the game cutscenes they already have into a show.
Just watch
You can
them.
just watch all-
Google
yeah,
Google
just watch
game
all the
cutscenes. The
cutscenes on
movie.
Google then.
No, they didn't do any cutscenes for Halo 3 or anything, so. Or Halo
Dear
Reach.
Blur.
Halo Reach by Blur. Give me.
There you go.
never get what I
Zoomare. Zoomare with a $5 dono. Thank you so much, Zoob. I hope Kadokawa does better PlayStation adaptations than the Boss Baby tier, bottom of the barrel, playtime secret level episode. Beautiful. Thank you, Zoob. Agreed.
I hope they're embarrassed, honestly.
I hope they're embarrassed too. Also, the fact that they, in the same year, they give us the greatest little guy robot of all time in Astrobot, and then the fucking Kevin Hart robot. I'm like, what are you got a good little guy robot. Why don't you put him out there?
Yeah, why wasn't that the robot?
Yeah. Denmark.
Well, maybe because he
here-
turns evil and they can't have Astrobot turn evil.
I think Kevin Hart's got something on the industry that they have to put him in stuff, or
I think he's just really popular.
He's got a good agent. That's what he's got.
I think he's got a really good agent, and I think he's really popular. Denmark.
Yeah, because he added
here.
nothing to that episode. Like
He did, except Heaven Heart. He made Heaven Heart.
He added Heaven Heart to the
no.
episode. He absolutely did.
And then Moosevelt, thank you so much for a $5 dono. Happy holidays. Looking forward to the rest of Second Wind's second year. Hell yeah, Moosevelt. I agree.
Thank you.
Let's close things off. What we've been playing or watching anything. My only thing, I've just been playing more Indiana Jones. I really like it. I'll talk about it more next year when I finish it. But Indiana Jones gets a couple thumbs up from me. Nick, since
I'm
we're
also,
gabbing this whole time, what have you got?
Yeah, I've been playing Indiana Jones as well. Just made it to like the third hub area. Really like the game. I think the Dishonored comparisons aren't really apt for it. It's just, you know, a more open-ended action adventure game, and that's fine. I do really love like all the puzzles though that you find and everything.
I think the level design is the thing that at least the Vatican reminds me of Dishonored.
Kinda, yeah.
Gameplay wise, I don't think it reminds me too much of Dishonored. But, yeah.
No. How far are you?
I'm in Egypt.
Okay, so you're only in the second hub area.
World.
Yeah. It as the farther I've gotten in, I'm enjoying it more the farther I get in, because the game it is paced very well, where like I think if I had too many Egypt areas in a row, I'd get burnt out on that, but just because like not because it's not fun, but the open-endedness of it does kind of go on for a little bit too long in those sections, I think. And like I think some of the reviews mention it, like some of the side quests can just be kind of go fetch this and bring it back kind of thing. And I haven't really felt too implored to go do all that. But once you get past Egypt, the game kind of falls into its pace of like, have an open area, have a more linear section that's an action section, then an open area again. And it's a really nice feel. And it reminds me of like Uncharted 4, like when you got some of those more open areas to go explore and do puzzles and all that. So
I'm really liking the side quests so far. I think they're mostly written pretty well, and even if they are boring to just grab a thing and bring it back, like it is feeding back into the in-game economy, which I keep collecting books and keep needing fucking book points to unlock new abilities and money to buy a bunch of garbage. So
But yeah, the writing. I just got done with like the Himalayas, which is where the not E3 Summer Games Fest demo, like they showed that off with that nice, that really funny cutscene and everything.
Oh, you didn't like Egypt because it was a desert.
Yeah, that's true. That's also true. So yeah, I'm just getting into like the rainforest area now, and I'm excited to play through that.
That's just a wet desert.
There's trees though. There's things to look at.
Yeah, there's palm trees.
A wet desert's like the
ocean,
like a mud,
a beach. Just mud, a fucking Miyazaki swamp. That's what originally he was just like, I want a wet desert, and they were like, oh, we don't know what that means, sir.
Like a bayou? Like, what are you saying to us?
I just Machine Games I think is quickly climbing up my list of favorite developers just because their writing is so good, and like they do so well with characters and making memorable villains and everything like that. It's just really breath of fresh air to get a game like this again after not having, I think, like a really good linear adventure like this in a long time. Unless Naughty Dog does it, we don't get it very often anymore. It feels like. So yeah, that's the only game I've really had time to play. I've been playing Balatro, so I'm not going to talk about that anymore. But I did watch a couple Netflix series. Black Doves is one that I watched with Keira Knightley and Ben Whishaw. Yeah. Oh, you watched it too?
Yeah, it's great. It's a new little. It's a great Christmas time watch. It's technically a Christmas.
It is a Christmas show.
extreme violence.
Oh no.
The thing is though. So if you ever heard of Black Doves, it features Keira Knightley and Ben Whishaw, and it's kind of like it's a revenge story with like a lot of like political espionage and all that kind of stuff. But yes, Black Doves, Eric. I think what surprised me about the show though is like Keira Knightley range. Like I feel like I haven't seen her in a lot of stuff.
I haven't
throughout the years.
In a long time.
And like I don't think she's ever been in something like this dark and action focused.
What about King Arthur?
I like that movie. You leave that movie alone.
Wait, is
I like King Arthur.
This show is the same writer that did Giri Haji, right?
Joe Barton.
Apparently it is. Yeah, I don't know who Giri Haji is.
Yeah,
I thought that was an anime.
No. That was the police drama that's like is in half Japan, half London that I was talking about a little while ago.
I don't remember that. It's got Justin Long in it. But yes, it's the same showrunner as
Giri Haji. Yep.
Same creator as
Giri Haji was really, really good. So
yeah, this
is instantly on my radar.
Yeah. It's doesn't overstay its welcome. The pace is really good.
Yeah, it's only 6 episodes. Yeah, it's good stuff. Real good action, real good performances, real good Christmas lights.
And as much as like Keira Knightley and like Ben Whishaw, I think is like the star, the real star of the thing. Like he's just such a complex character that like you kind of don't know what he's gonna do next, sort of character. And I think the show just does a really good job of like it almost, like the trailer makes you think like John Wick a little bit, but it's really not that. It's like a very much more, I guess, humanistic show. That's how I would describe it. Where like it's just people kind of fighting with like their inner demons for a lot of it. And so that made it really different from what I was expecting it was going to be. So the second show I watched was also like a political espionage thriller, was The Madness. Have you watched that one yet, Marty?
I don't even know what that is. No.
Oh, really? Netflix has been like showing it all over. So
my algo is just like you watching more Don. We got you. It just tosses me a bunch of anime.
As it should.
Yeah, The Madness stars Coleman Domingo.
I love Coleman Domingo.
Yeah, he's great in this. So basically, he goes on like a little vacation. He gets framed for a murder, and then it becomes this whole like conspiracy web of like he's being just completely fucked with by every system that could fuck with him: the media, the police, Antifa, white nationalists, everybody was out to screw this guy over.
Like Antifa's not even real, so that's wild.
They do an interesting thing with Antifa in this one, where like they are the fringe, very fringe element of Antifa. So it's like a show that like the title of the show really fits with how you feel when you're watching it, where it's like he's just going crazier and crazier because like nobody believes him. Everything's just falling apart around him. It's great. Like it's a frustrating show to watch because you're like, how are people this dumb? And then you're like, oh yeah, the real world exists and people are that dumb.
He's Coleman Domingo is he's very soon I think going to become like a household name. He's a front runner for the Oscars this year for this movie called Sing Sing, but in a bunch of actor roundtables, end of the year actor roundtables now he's become like BFFs with Kieran Culkin, who was he was on Succession, but is also an Oscar frontrunner for a Jesse Eisenberg movie this year called The Real Pain. And the two of them, Coleman Domingo and Kieran Culkin, have the funniest fucking rapport because Coleman Domingo is so like. He's like a Shakespearean trained actor. They were talking about their morning routines on an early shoot. And so they're like, oh, if we have to be at set at 5, he's like, I wake up at 3 a.m. and I take a long shower and I listen to jazz and I just get myself into headspace. And, Kieran Culkin is like, I wake up 5 minutes late. I get yelled at. I don't shower. I go to stage. I get yelled at because I don't remember my lines. And like the two of them, like I'm like, I want these two in a buddy cop movie of like the guy who's like every moment of his life is manicured, and then the kid who's just a complete fail son.
That's
really good.
That's hilarious. Yeah. I want to watch that.
It's kind of funny. Like I'm just looking at his IMDb, and I felt like I had seen him in so many more things.
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff.
Well, he's in a lot of stuff, but like a lot of stuff that just is not rated well.
Yeah,
like Transformers: Rise
of the
Beast.
A lot of actors, honestly.
Yeah. I just felt like he was in more like high profile stuff, and he just hasn't been yet. But I think he will be.
Yeah, I think he's about.
Like
I think he's about to fucking blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So man, definitely give it a look if you like those kind of like high intensity thrillers. Good stuff.
Hell yeah. Anything else?
No, just I'm gonna be using the holiday break to get caught up on a lot of games I gotta get finished out. I want to get back and finish up Dragon Age at some point. Yes. Maybe I'll save that for a stream next year.
We already streamed Portal 2.
Yeah, I gotta stream it again. Sorry.
We can stream Portal 2 once a year every year.
Yeah, I was about to say, I guess this is the channel where Jack's like, maybe over break I'll stream more Dark Souls 2. Jack said he currently has several Dark Souls 2 runs going. And I'm like, that's weird, right?
He has several Dark Souls 2 runs going, and his kids are also playing it. So he's sitting there like watching them play it. Okay, so if he's not playing it, he's watching it.
Okay, now I like it.
Man is obsessed.
Now I think it's sweet. Now I like it. And then Fungus Finder with the $2 dono. Wet Desert. You're describing a beach, y'all. Yeah, we got there eventually. Casey, what are you been watching? Playing?
I got my internet fixed. Apparently,
is the internet broken? It seemed fine to me.
Apparently, my modem was too old for the level of service I had. Like I have 2 gigs coming in, and my modem was like rated for like 750 or something. So it was giving me those spikes. It was causing issues on certain streams. I just didn't know what the problem was because I was resetting everything and checking everything. They finally came to give me a new thing that's rated properly. It instantly fixed this issue I was having in Smash where like
I knew you were going to bring up Smash immediately.
I mean, because that's how I know it worked, Nick. That's how I know everything is good in the world. Because Smash is the baseline.
I knew it.
Like several months ago, I would start getting these weird hitches where like it would freeze once in the middle of a match, go for like a second or two, and then freeze a second time. And I could like count it like when it would just happen. And it was giving me like such anxiety. Like I might have to move to a different game because Smash just doesn't work anymore.
You're going to move to a different house.
So as soon as they fix that thing, Smash works. I've been putting a lot more time into Smash, playing a bunch of NES for a really stupid reason. I watched a video that said that when Ness does his down tilt, which is like a little like baby kick, right?
Yeah.
The kick can come out as fast as you can press the button. So it looks really, really funny if you're like just like mashing it.
Really mashing it, yeah.
Yeah. But because of that, against Peach/Daisy, anytime she throws her turnip, it will instantly catch it. Because like it's almost just reading the input as like a forever catch input.
Sure,
because you can catch anything thrown at you if you can time it properly and just like hit it right before it hits you. But when he does that, he's invincible. But just to Peach and Daisy when they throw the turnip. It's so situational. And I thought that was so stupid that I picked up Ness in order to just do that anytime I come across a Peach and Daisy. And it has been a blast.
I love it.
It's very funny. But yeah, outside of that, I watched Baby Driver for the first time.
Oh, nice.
Good movie.
And it solidified something that I think I already knew, in that Edgar Wright, I think, is my favorite director.
He's fucking great.
Yeah, like I like
Dude.
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is probably like my favorite movie, and like that's one of his babies.
Mhm.
But yeah, I've been meaning to watch this forever. I just never got around to it. Like, it was downloaded on my Netflix thing to watch on a plane whenever I got the chance. And so I flew to Chicago earlier, last weekend. Finally put it on, and from top to bottom, fucking in love with this movie. Like,
Yeah.
I've never seen John Hamm like that.
Yeah, he's great.
Like, he was great. Everybody was great. I don't know who that kid is. Like, the kid who plays Baby. What else is he in?
Ansel Elgort. He was. It's funny. The show you were talking about that was half English, half Japanese. The crime thing. I thought you were talking about Tokyo Vice, but he's the main
Yeah, the show that
actor.
I recommended. Yes, he's the main actor in that. If you like his
is
movies, go watch
he's the
Tokyo
main.
Vice.
He's the main actor
Cancel,
in West Side Story.
Wait, which West Side Story? The new one?
Yeah,
I watched that movie. I don't remember him.
That's him. He's West.
He's West.
He's West.
All right. Well, yeah. That's basically it. Baby Driver is a great movie. If you've not seen it, check it out. It's amazing.
Did you see Edgar Wright's latest movie from a few years ago? Last Night in Soho.
I haven't, and I keep meaning to watch it.
That was like the HBO. No.
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay. Well, I don't know what I'm thinking of then.
It was just a movie.
It's just a movie. Okay.
Yeah. It was just a movie. It was probably his least well-received movie. I thought it was really good. It leans a little bit into horror, so your mileage may vary. I don't think it's like a capital H horror movie or anything, but
as long as it's a good story, I think I can get into it.
Yeah, and it's got
did
really
an
great
essay
performances. It's got Anya Taylor-Joy and Matt Smith, both like fucking throwing heaters. So yeah, and I'm excited for his next movie. He's doing the adaptation of Stephen King's Running Man, starring Glenn Powell.
Oh,
America's sweetheart, Glenn Powell.
Everything about that was great until you said Glenn Powell. I'm not.
Why? Why are you anti?
He's a hater. He's a hater.
I just haven't been convinced yet. I've not wanted to watch anything that he's in and seen him do whatever his work is that has convinced everyone else. So I'm agnostic in terms of Glenn Powell.
What about that one movie he's in with that white girl everyone likes?
I have no idea. Is that not like 7 movies?
Oh, what's her name? The one from Euphoria. Her. Sydney Sweeney.
Oh, Sydney Sweeney. Yeah, I've not watched that.
Anyone but you.
Anyone but you. There you go. No,
I have not watched that. No.
Right.
Yeah, maybe this will convince me. Maybe because it's Edgar Wright, I'll give it a shot and I'll see the majesty that is Glenn Powell. But until then, fuck Glenn Powell.
Have you watched Twisters yet?
No.
Oh, watch Twisters. You'll change on Glenn Powell if you watch Twisters.
Is it? I mean, I've seen Twister. Is it worth it to watch Twisters? Like, does it build on it?
It's absolutely better.
Absolutely
no, it's just better tornadoes. It's not. It doesn't have Helen Hunt and doesn't have Bill Pullman and or Paxton. I always get the two of them confused.
They're the same guy, so it's fine.
No, one of them is dead. One of them is not. So I do not think they are the same guy.
One died, so the other could live.
But Glenn Powell and whatever her name is she's good. The other one.
I don't know.
I was gonna say Daisy Ridley, but it's not Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Edgar Jones. Forget again? Oh,
Daisy Edgar Jones. There's a couple of daisies cutting it up. Yeah. Anything else? Oh, you should also watch Hitman. He was in a new movie this year called Hitman that was really good, where he plays a Hitman. That's the one you should actually watch.
Hitman.
Not based on hit video game Hitman. No.
Even though there are like 2 different movies that are called Hitman.
There are several. I think there were 2 different adaptations of Hitman. One of them with Timothy Olyphant.
Did you see they put Hitman and Superman as well?
What?
That was the joke about bald Nicholas Holt as
he just
as
looks
Lex
like,
Luthor.
he looks like Agent
They
47.
said Nicholas Holt looked like Hitman?
Yeah, he looks like Agent
Holt's
47 in it.
Yeah.
He's too scrawny to look like Hitman.
The subreddit for Hitman is going crazy over
That's funny. That's really funny.
You watch anything else?
I did. I watched Woman of the Hour. I didn't like it.
The Anna Kendrick one?
Yeah, Anna Kendrick is in it.
Yeah. I was
That's based on a true story. It's not good.
I didn't either. I will say I thought for her what I think is her directorial debut.
She directed that?
Yeah, I'm interested in her to direct more movies. This one didn't land for me, but I thought it was directed relatively well. I just thought the story was kind of dumb. It just felt like
it was a bad way to tell that story. I felt like because like at the very end they tell you that the events are real. I don't know if that was supposed to be like the hit that like kind of made all the pieces fall together. So
like that's how the movie was marketed to me.
It was. Oh, okay.
Yeah, to me it was like, based on the true story in the 70s of the dating game contestant who got paired up with a notorious serial killer in the LA area.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing, right? Like the character that Anna Kendrick plays had so much focus, but like mattered so little in the grand scheme of like what that movie was about or what it should have been about, I guess, which was, women in general being preyed upon and not being heard by like a society run by men and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like it just was unfocused on its central point. And like that just like finding out at the end that all of that was real left a bad taste in my mouth, because it was like, this was an opportunity to sort of highlight this fact.
Yeah, or like say something about it. Yeah. No, I see where you come from.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Pete Holmes, the bad man, is in the movie.
The Pete Holmes, the bad man?
Yeah.
You're still going on about. Okay, never mind. I was like, what is happening? It's that old gem.
The Batman parodies, yeah.
Fucking, what a way to end the year of podcast. Yeah.
What's one thing that you could, if you could, delete from somebody else's brain? Because for me,
he's nuts.
It would be the bad man references that Nick brings
up. Or bench warmers. When he brings up bench warmers, like it's a cultural touchstone that everyone should know about.
Taking away my core memories, the things that make my personality.
You make new core memories. It's fine.
Shit, I'm just gonna be 100% SpongeBob all the time.
I might take away SpongeBob from people. I don't get it. Anything I don't get, I just don't get it. Wallace and Gromit, I don't get it. Remove that from everyone.
Take it away. I don't get it.
French clay.
No, Jomo Slower. You can't take Blue Mountain State away from.
Oh, that's got Hunky.
That's got Chad.
Yeah, that's got Himbo Reacher. So he's fine.
Tad.
Yeah, that's fine. That's all right. I love it every time Nick brings up Blue Mountain State.
the fakest sounding show that ever existed.
It's also funny that he became Jack Reacher.
I don't know. He's pretty big. It seems like he was.
I know. But when Blue Mountain State came out, he was just like basically Stifler.
He should big as shit,
buff Stifler. Yeah.
They should remake Jingle All the Way, and he should play that guy. And then to make it the most that Nick movie ever, that Pete Holmes man can play the shitty Tom Arnold neighbor that he gets cut by.
Yeah. It's all coming together.
I'm gonna go personally pitch to James Gunn the Batman cinematic universe.
Oh, I think he's busy. Busy. We did it. We made it to the end of the year. Talking about the most important thing, Batman. First off, thank you all so much for hanging with us all year. We deeply appreciate it, and like we mentioned, we're just gonna be taking the holiday break off, but we'll be back podding the first week of January, so we'll be back the 8th for the first episode of the year. And tomorrow, like I mentioned at the top, we have a full day of streams. We'll have Design Delve at noon Central. Excuse me? Dev Heads. My mistake. Noon Central, we'll have Dokapon returning at 3 p.m. Central with Casey and I and Jesse and Jess for a full 3 hours. And then right after that, Lockdown Protocol. Look who remembered that name. So those will be our last official streams of the year. There might be some unofficial ones.
Yeah, maybe we'll fire up the old Stream-O-Matic. See what comes on.
5000. I'm going to be honest, it's probably be Dark Souls 2. Probably gonna be Jack playing Dark Souls 2. That's what the Stream-O-Matic's probably gonna create. And we have great edited videos as well going up over the break, including the videos like we mentioned earlier. One for our favorite movies of the year / TV shows, and one for our favorite games of the year that all three of us contributed to. Casey edited the movies one, so those should be running over the holiday break. So yeah, check those out. But yeah, Casey, what else do you have going on? What's your folks?
Not much as we're going into the holiday season, but if you follow my socials, Sigma Gears 9, I'll let you know if I'll be around this coming Sunday for a extra big, long running Super Smash Sunday to try to make up for all the weeks I've been missing because of travel, etc. So if I can make it back here by a certain time, I'll let y'all know that we're going for like 9 hours.
You got to see how good it is now that Casey's gonna have better internet.
Yes. Oh man, it's gonna be so good. No
it's
more.
Be like when Goku takes off his fucking karate outfit, and it's like turns out it was like 100 pounds. Like,
why was your shirt so heavy, bro? But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Happy New Year.
Hell yeah. What about you, Nick?
I released a new Unpacked episode today on what?
Oh no, I forgot to mention that. That's why I give the two thumbs up.
Yeah. I released an Unpacked episode today. I talked about the Game Awards. Lots of people responded to the title without ever watching the video. So that was fun reading those comments.
Would do
not on our internet.
Never. So go check that out. It's not like the title may seem cynical, but it's more of like an analysis over why the Game Awards won't change from what it really is. So I had really fun writing that script. And then the new year, we're going to make some changes to Unpacked with Jack and I coming back for somewhat of an escapist show revival is what the plan is. Thanks to the Discord community for providing that feedback. And then Jack and I really like the idea.
Is that show going to be called N-Packed?
No.
Like and then packed because Nick and Jack Packer. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make this work, guys.
It's gonna be unpacking the news for Jack Packard. So we'll check that out, and then of course, I may do some streams over the break. I know people want to see more Path of Exile 2, so I've been making my way through that. And then Lockdown Protocol tomorrow will be a lot of fun. Without just Hoops there to murder me every 5 seconds. So
Ow, rude.
Yeah.
But it's true. She is violent and terrifying.
Yeah.
That's the Just Hoops review. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Everyone who tuned in throughout the year, everyone who listened along with us, watched along with us, we deeply appreciate it. Thank you so much to Eric, behind the scenes, the unsung hero of the show, rocking with us every week for spoofing and goofing with us. Eric,
Absolutely.
we deeply appreciate you. So for Casey and Nick and Eric, this was Marty. This was Firelink episode number 48. Thank you all so much. And we'll see you guys in the new year. Have a great holiday season if we don't see you by then.
Bye. Happy holidays.
We have 6 days left to get 25% off our Patreon subscription, so go get it.
Get it.
Please.
Great time to jam that in there.
Yeah. Jam it in.